How we doing, everybody? Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer with you from PNC Studios here at Hallis Hall, getting ready for Week 17. We got an old-fashioned NFC North brawl about to commence at Ford Field in Detroit. That place is jumping. They're excited about the playoffs, and Tom Thayer, they have a chance if they run the table here in the final 2 weeks. They take on the Green Bay Packers in the finale. They need a team like Washington to go 1-1. Other things to happen, Seattle to go 1-1. There's 3 scenarios. Giants are included. You know how it goes at the end of the season. But they're even talking about, for a second time only this season, and probably for the second time in a long time, standing room only ticket sales. They want that place rocking.
Well, you know what? We don't get to talk about this. We don't get to use this phrase very often. I don't like this phrase, but being a division spoiler,
yeah.
I would like to take that role to Detroit in being able to go into that broadcast booth 7 stories above the playing surface and be able to broadcast a game with you and I.
Just be angry?
Right. Just be angry and just be satisfied that on that New Year's Day, the Bears kicked off 2023 with the right fashion.
And that's a great point, too, because, yes, the calendar does flip. It's 2023. This is, let's have a fresh slate. Go for it here. But I'll tell you what, you're going to have to bring your big boy pads for sure. I think Dan Campbell, I heard him on a radio show in Detroit. He's measured but firm what he wants it to be. They got their tails whipped at the line of scrimmage by the Carolina Panthers.
Sure
so 300-plus yards. Bears obviously got run on as well. So I'll tell you, we could talk about it all day long. We're going to give our different keys and players. But the line of scrimmage, again, and who stops the run is probably going to decide the outcome.
Oh, no doubt. And, you know, Detroit right now, they probably are thought of better on the offensive line than the Chicago Bears. They got high draft choices. They have production. They've been able to protect a guy like Jared Goff. They got their running game involved. They got St. Brown, who's catching passes all over the field. So they are really complemented by their offensive line. Now, the defensive line is still a project in work, and it's still, I think, an attackable portion of their football team defensively. Because if you get Dave Montgomery, Khalil Herbert, and the rest of the runners full speed through the defensive line, then you're talking about a significant gain in the linebackers and defensive backs get involved. But when you talk about the attitude of Dan Campbell, the desire of Matt Eberflus, it's going to be an old physical fest at the line of scrimmage.
I'm waiting for the day. You know, Ryan Poles was talking about taking the North, right? And that is the plan moving forward. But with the Packers, the Vikings, the Lions, all, you know, good in their own way, just like the Bears have good elements to their game right now. Eventually, I want this division to be one of the best in football and just go after each other and make every team come through here and feel the pain of the NFC North, right? I mean, that would be great. I would like to reestablish that moving forward.
Well, I don't really care about the rest of the division. I want to see the Bears have a stronghold on the division for 10 years to come.
Sure.
And really kick off the future brightly from the start of 2023 moving forward.
All right, when you watched the tape against Carolina, what did you see was the biggest problem? Because the inside linebackers combined for only 10 tackles for Detroit in that game on 41 rushing attempts, which means, you know what happened, the DBs were making the tackles. Now, they play nickel a ton. They keep their corners and safeties close to the line of scrimmage to help and run support, but it didn't work against Carolina. What'd you see?
Basic explosive runs to the point of attack. And like I said, if the Bears can get Montgomery and Khalil Herbert not to break stride into the second level, then they're going to have those types of explosive runs. And I sat there and I watched the first couple of plays of the game and I'm going, who is this? I mean, I admire what the Carolina coaching staff has been able to do with that football team after the original head coach got fired. But I'm thinking, okay, Detroit, you're in perfect playing conditions. Dan Campbell has been a big emotional influence on this football team. You have experience at quarterback. You got good receiver play. Now take this thing on the road and see what you can get out of it. And I'll tell you what they got out of it. They got just an old-fashioned kicking.
Right, they did. All right, so Tom has been on this, and I do not disagree with him one bit. You'd like to think the Bears have a 3-pronged rushing attack, obviously, with Montgomery, Herbert, and Justin Fields. Tommy's still looking for his record. The Bears want to set the team record for single-season rushing, chasing that 84 Bears team, less than 300 yards away from that. They really want to do that. That's just something. It's a feather in the cap. However, you'd like to see the bulk of the running game coming from the running back.
Yeah, I think that's one of my key ingredients to this game is I would like to see the rushing yards doubled by Khalil Herbert and David Montgomery, period. period over their running backs, because I don't think Jared Goff is going to give you a big boost in terms of the running game, where Justin always could. But if you're talking about a formulated, positive game plan that's winning the point of attack, you're doing it with the running backs and not including Justin. So, yeah, I think if the two running backs can have an explosive day, they can change the course of this game.
Last meeting, Justin had 148 yards against the Lions. I was talking to their play-by-play guy this week, and I reminded, he goes, you don't need to remind me, we remember. What will be the adjustment for the Lions facing Justin in terms of running?
You know, I think taking a little bit out of the game plan from the Buffalo Bills, Leslie Frazier, the defensive coordinator, did a nice job of not dedicating a spy to Justin Fields, but had an organized player behind the line of scrimmage. If Justin Fields dropped back, then he turned into a pass rusher. If Justin Fields was going through his RPO formula, then he kind of hovered behind the line of scrimmage and then attacked when the play moved to its point of attack. And so I think if they feel that they have an athlete qualified to chase Justin around, that maybe be their formula.
Defensively, the Bears secondary, you know, you're starting three rookies, and they really have done a nice job. Kyler Gordon, obviously, at the outside corner with Josh Blackwell. You got Jalen Jones on the other side. You got Brisker in the secondary. So 4 rookies in the secondary. Elijah Hicks at times, and they have been able to do a nice job. Jared Goff is playing well. As bad as they lost that game, Jared Goff looked good. He was making the right decisions. He was taking some pops. He threw 3 touchdowns to Shane Zylstra, his tight end, using the tight ends in the passing game, while Swift is still getting better with his ankle, and Jamal Williams, he had some issues injury-wise. He is expected to play. They have a lot of weapons. Amon-Ra St. Brown, you mentioned. They're trying to work in the new kid from Jameson Williams from Alabama. He only had 11 snaps. He's been retweeting, people are saying, hey, how come he's not getting the ball? And he's liking that. He wants the ball. So a lot to break down with Jared Goff. And if you don't pressure him, it is going to be tough. You got to find a way to pressure him, Tom.
Right. Jared Goff has turned into the offensive coordinator as much as the offensive coordinator himself. And I think Jared Goff has a nice job of having conversations with his weapons and understanding what he expects out of them at the conclusion of their route, depending upon the protection, how quickly he wants their awareness to be turned around and focused. So he's really taken the bull by the horns, basically, and outplayed Matthew Stafford, who they traded, a couple years ago, and Jared Goff has really been a nice compliment to the quarterbacks in this division.
All right, let's go to our players to watch. Lead off with you on the offensive side of the ball. Where are you going?
I'm going to go with the running backs. I am, because I do really think that they need to have success. And when you talk about perfect playing conditions, Khalil Herbert back in the mix now 2 weeks in a row, having other running backs involved in the running game plan. But I want running backs being the major portion of the running game. And to me, I would like the running backs to double the performance of the Detroit Lions.
All right. Could I do it again? Or am I going to get wrapped on the knuckles?
Are you going to say Cole Kmet?
I mean, listen.
Oh, my gosh.
Hey, listen, Matt Eberflus, I'm talking to you, buddy, right? We talk about this all the time. Use your skill. So let's use the skill of Cole Kmet. He keeps getting more and more touches. Let's get more and more yards, get him moving, and get that passing game kicked off to complement that running game off play action. That's where I'm going. And I'd say Chase Claypool if he's going to play, but we don't know it right now.
To me, I would go to Velus. Because here's Velus, who had major blow-up plays on kickoff return, and he had the 42-plus yarder that Justin, I think, maybe built a little trust with him.
Beautiful play.
So whether you want to go to someone who's going to touch the football, running backs, Cole Kmet, I would like to see more explosive plays by Velus.
Well, how about on defense for you?
For me, I'm going to go with Jaquan Brisker, because here's a guy.
You stole my thunder.
Okay, I can go with other guys too.
No, go.
No, listen, I can go with Joe Thomas and Matt Adams equally as well, because I think when you look at the complementary of the linebacker position, when you talk about them stopping a running game, getting in the way of Jared Goff, have some blitzes that those guys are involved, and be able to really make it a one-dimensional where you're completely taking the running game out of it. It's going to take all the linebackers, but I like what Matt Adams and what Joe Thomas offer this linebacking crew. So I like that they're interchangeable, and you can play a lot of different defenses according to that linebacker position.
I was going to go Brisker and the safeties in general, but I'm going to go with Alan Williams and the defensive coordinator, because Jared Goff has long been known not to love pressure. Move him off his spot. So if it's not going to be the front four consistently, then you're going to have to get creative. Like you mentioned, Brisker, they're going to blitz him. They're going to blitz Brisker. They like that. Kyler Gordon on the outside is also a big part of this picture right now. You know, Matt Eberflus keeps talking about him as a ball hawk because at nickel, your responsibilities are endless. Maybe on the outside, he will get more and more interceptions and more plays on the ball because it's happened the last couple of weeks. Maybe Kyler Gordon is going to be that ball hawk that's going to help take the ball away on Sunday against the Detroit Lions. All right, we're excited about Bears and Lions playoff scenarios around, and hopefully the Bears can spoil the show for the Detroit Lions at jumpy Ford Field. We'll have the pregame at 9, kickoff at noon on WBM. Ron, Jim, and Jay will join us. That'll wrap us up here. For Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for watching Game Preview here from PNC Studios at Hallis Hall. We'll talk to you next time.